Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Me, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. In the most recent chapter of One Piece, Kizaru used his skills and managed to quickly invade Egghead Island. However, his arrival was intercepted by Sentomaru and some pacifista, and they're doing their best to keep Kizaru and the rest of the Marines from advancing further onto the island. Now, of course, the ultimate objective of Kizaru and the Marines are Straw Hats and Vegapunk, who are coincidentally together in the Lava phase. Interestingly enough, Kizaru's mere presence on the island instills a sense of apprehension in Luffy, who immediately spots where the Admiral is. Now, we know that Sentomaru will have a hard time holding Kizaru down for long, and it's inevitably going to lead to Luffy having to take on the Admiral, which will undoubtedly be a really impressive skirmish. In this looming battle, there's an exciting possibility that we'll finally witness a long-awaited fight between Luffy and an Admiral, and particularly Kizaru, because this showdown could actually rival Luffy's legendary battle against Kaido in the same kind of magnitude. So in today's video, we're going to discuss this potential epic battle, exploring how it might play out, the dynamics involved, and the consequences it could have for this exciting Egghead Island arc. But before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel, or even if you've watched a bunch of our videos, we'd be absolutely honored if you'd leave us a like, and even subscribe, and maybe leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out, especially with that old YouTube algorithm, and it continues to motivate us to make more content. And if you'd like to help out the channel in a bigger way, consider sharing this video or another one of your favorites with a friend. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So my friends, considering Luffy's recent upgrades to his Devil Fruit, which has given him Gear 5th, we've seen a significant improvement in his ability to face more powerful opponents. Now that he has that freedom and that ability to mold his rubber to anything he can imagine, Luffy's gonna have a much better chance against Kizaru, who is a Marine Admiral known for his extraordinary speed. And Gear 5th is also gonna allow Luffy to be able to keep up with Kizaru's lightning speed, something that previously really seemed near impossible. Now, of course, any clash between Luffy and Kizaru is gonna happen after the defeat of Sentomaru. And once Kizaru and the rest of the Marines start advancing towards the inner parts of the island, they might decide to launch a coordinated attack with the Marines and the Gorosei. And this in a way to not only try and get their hands on Vegapunk, but also perhaps draw the Straw Hats out and separate these different groups of people. But overall, Luffy and his allies are gonna be determined to protect the scientist and prevent the Navy from capturing him. And they're also gonna have to find a way off the island because it looks like they may actually be surrounded. So any battle is gonna be intense, and Luffy may have to exploit all of his different new capabilities to the absolute fullest, so he can bring that creative and unpredictable kind of attack against Kizaru. However, Kizaru is one of the most powerful admirals in the Navy, and his ability to transform into light grants him that intangibility as well as extreme speed. And even with Gear 5th, defeating him is not going to be an easy task. But however you slice it, the confrontation between Luffy and Kizaru would be an absolutely impressive spectacle, where both are going to use all of their unique abilities to the fullest. And Luffy with his ferocious attack and using his flexibility and strength to pressure the Admiral, while Kizaru using his speed and light abilities to try and neutralize Luffy. So what it's going to come down to is not power, but strategy is going to be crucial for either side to win, because it's not going to be just a war of attrition in this struggle. Overall though, Luffy could come out victorious, especially with the power of Gear 5th, because he could find ways to use his own elasticity or even the environment's elasticity to deflect Kizaru's attacks, or come up with some kind of unexpected tactic that's going to use his unique body properties in a very interesting and new way. On the other hand, we could actually see something we may not have actually ever seen before, and that's a draw. Kizaru is one of the most powerful Marine Admirals, and his experience and power are really unmatched. So he likely will find a way to neutralize Luffy's attacks, or maybe dodge his blows with his light speed. Even with Gear 5th, Kizaru's still going to be a very formidable opponent who could resist and counter very effectively against Luffy. As for the prospect of defeating and capturing Luffy, that is a non-zero possibility, and there's actually been quite a bit of discussion in the One Piece community about whether this might be the direction the story's going to go, because One Piece is especially known for the surprising twists that Oda-sensei brings, and this could be one of those unpredictable twists. The Marines did bring a lot of people to the battlefield, with Kizaru and a Gorosei with unknown powers leading the pack. So it's possible that Luffy could actually be outmatched and captured. Luffy's hypothetical defeat could serve as a turning point for the character's development, propelling him to seek an even greater growth and devise more improved strategies for dealing with the Marines and also rescuing Vegapunk in any kind of future. But we also know that in any situation where Luffy is defeated and captured, the rest of the Straw Hat crew, as well as their allies, are going to go all out against the Marines to be able to go and rescue Luffy. But going after them for Luffy could actually be the strategy, because as long as the Marines and the world government had a Yonko in their possession. The Marines could use Luffy's capture as a means to luring out the rest of the Straw Hats and take care of them once and for all. And this would be reminiscent of that strategy employed by the Navy to wipe out Whitebeard and much of his crew after Ace is captured at the Battle of the Best. There's also the intriguing possibility of, despite that twist where Luffy is defeated initially, he and the Straw Hats will find a way to escape, possibly enlisting the help of an unexpected ally. So however they might escape the island, this could actually trigger a subsequent confrontation between Luffy and Kizaru in the future, where the Straw Hats, after a little more adventure and storyline, they could demonstrate further exponential growth and finally emerge victorious over the Admiral. But regardless of the outcome and how it plays out, we gotta know that a duel between Luffy and Kizaru would be one of the most emotional and impactful moments in One Piece, because not only would it provide a memorable spectacle, that this battle could unlock deeper secrets about the Navy, the world government, what the Gorosei are about, Vegapunk's enigmatic past, or even further fleshing out other characters' narratives and motivations, because there does seem to be something about Bonnie, and there's a few strings still out there yet to be tied up. Now, should Luffy manage to triumph over Kizaru, this achievement alone would become one of the most significant milestones in his journey, because in addition to reaffirming the fact that yes, he is one of the most powerful pirates in the world, and Kaido wasn't just a fluke, because it did take a lot of teamwork, but this victory, not only would it be that sign that Luffy has fully arrived as a Yonko, it would also deal a considerable blow against the Marines and the world government and the way they're going to look in the world at large. However, as I said earlier, this victory is not going to probably come without some sacrifices, because a battle with somebody like Kizaru is not only going to be physically and emotionally draining, we could see Luffy emerge seriously injured or even need a substantial period of recovery, because we know that he hasn't fully mastered Gear 5th yet. Furthermore, even if Kizaru were defeated, the Navy isn't going to stay put if the Straw Hats and Vegapunk escape. They're going to set off after him, and they're going to be relentless in their pursuit. When it comes to the draw option, we could see a stalemate between Luffy and Kizaru if they both reach their limits, or for various reasons, like the fight's interrupted. Maybe somebody arrives and there's an unexpected character intervening and that prevents a definitive outcome. There could be another Admiral, there could be a different Gorosei, or even one of the other Yonko. Any of these scenarios would open up a wide range of possibilities for plot development, including introducing new characters or even where there could be some intriguing alliances. So now that we've talked about all the different ways the situation could play out, let's take a little bit of time to talk specifically about any battle between Luffy and Kizaru and how they may actually fight each other. A clash between these two fighters would demonstrate some really cool opportunities for showing off their prowess and their abilities in some spectacular ways. Now, once Luffy gets into Gear 5th, his enhanced elastic form could create a whole lot of not only unpredictable and weird attacks for Kizaru to deal with, but let's just think about how he can now affect the environment. Kizaru could fire a bolt of light, but Luffy might actually be able to grab it out of the air, snake it around himself, or just even redirect it with some kind of use of the environment, surprising Kizaru with his agility, unpredictability, and intelligence in battle. Kizaru, in turn, could use his intangibility and his ability to transform into light to slip through Luffy's attacks. Now, although Luffy does have Haki, and that negates the intangibility of most Devil Fruit, we've never seen somebody like Kizaru on his level. I mean, I think the closest thing that we've really seen was, say, Katakuri, and he was able to mold himself around Luffy's different attacks. So what if Kizaru could do that, or even split himself into different colors? He is, after all, light, so who knows where the limits of his abilities with that Devil Fruit are? Could you imagine where, just instead of there being one of him, there's one of every color represented by the rainbow because he's able to split himself? And this, in turn, making Luffy have to respond to not just one Admiral, but a whole group. As the fight went on, Luffy and Kizaru's allies would of course try and get in on the action. Straw Hats and their allies would have to fight to protect Vegapunk and stop any Marine advances, creating a multi-front battle that would increase the overall intensity of this confrontation. We also have that X factor of CP0 as well. Now, mainly it's Rob Lucci and Kaku who might jump into the action, but we don't know whether they're going to fight the Straw Hats or perhaps help them escape and just plan on taking out Vegapunk later once they get off Egghead Island. Considering the battlefield of Egghead Island, a fight between Luffy and Kizaru would cause devastating effect because there'd be shockwaves, potential powerful explosions, and different things happening all around the island. And as the clash went on and their level of fury raised, this could cause a really dramatic transformation of the whole area because of all of the different powerful attacks. The main factor that might determine how all of this plays out is actually the way the battle will go. Because as Luffy and Kizaru trade blows, we have to know that there's a real potential for them to gain some kind of mutual respect for each other's abilities. Because Luffy might admire the speed and accuracy of Kizaru's attacks, while Kizaru might recognize Luffy's incredible resilience, creativity, and even see his determination. And in the heat of battle, we could see an unexpected connection form between them, leaving them at a momentary impasse. And this might be the reason why Kizaru could let Luffy and the Straw Hats go, because we have seen some little flashbacks about Kizaru's past, and it seems like he's had his Devil Fruit ability for quite a long time, and also has some deep bonds with Vegapunk and Sentomaru. So perhaps we add in Luffy's ability to turn enemies into allies, and that, my friends, is the perfect recipe where Kizaru would let Luffy go. So as we wait to see how everything's gonna unfold on Egghead Island, one thing is certainly clear, that this confrontation is gonna be one of the most incredible scenes in our story of One Piece so far. I mean, if we thought Wano was anything, just imagine what we could see in a battle with a real admiral, as we see both these two characters put everything they have into this battle. So as we wait and see how Oda-sensei plays all this out, we'd now love to know what you think about it. What do you think's gonna be the bigger features on Egghead Island? And do you think we're gonna see a matchup between Luffy and Kizaru? Once you say that, how do you think it's gonna play out? Do you see Luffy winning, Kizaru winning, draw, or some other kind of twist? Let us know what you think about all that in the comments below. So as we wrap up our video for the day, we'd like to thank you all so much for watching, especially those of you who've made it here to the very end. Be sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, give us a like and hit that subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I look forward to seeing you all in our next video. Let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.